Welcome to my series, where I try to tell Skyrim like it was written in a book, or told in the TV series, with not just one main character who is all of a sudden the Dragonborn, but many different characters, most of which, well, all of which, but one, are not the Dragonborn. This story will be played by many different characters of all different sorts of backstories, and all different combat roles and personalities. I hope you come to enjoy watching this sort of stuff as much as I enjoy making it and playing it. If you guys enjoy, please leave a like, and subscribe if you want. And of course, if you're feeling a bit chatty, drop me a comment and it'll be fun to have a conversation. Anyway, I'm gonna let you get to this. Have fun.
Chapter 18, The Fledgling. My name is Zarita, and I'm a traveler to Skyrim. But I'm not alone. I entered Skyrim with my companion Revolia, an Imperial woman I met while exploring High Rock. We both decided to explore Skyrim together. We've been in Skyrim for about 3 months, before Whiterun was attacked by the rebelling Nords. But ever since then, the roads have become busy with fighting. The dead bodies of the fallen make the roads of Skyrim stink really bad, so we tend to steer clear of Imperial or Stormcloaks soldiers. Skyrim is so beautiful. Well, at least the bottom half is. The north is just too cold for my liking, and there's little to no color. The graveyard of Falkreath is known throughout all Tamriel, that the greatest of Nord warriors have been buried here. But I was saddened to see the tomb of a little girl, whose parents must live on without her, like mine. My brother died when he was 2 before I was even born, leaving a hole in the hearts of my parents forever. As a little girl, I'd look up to see my mother staring off to the horizon with tears dropping down her chin. I never understood why until they took me to his grave before I left for Skyrim. They begged me to return, to not end up in the ground before them. So I try my best to be safe, even though the roads of Skyrim are a dangerous place. I have skill with my blade and Revolia at my back. I liked Falkreath. It's breezy but not too cold, and the sun's beautiful colors made the place look like paradise. But here it got cold out of nowhere. I could hear something in the forest. It was coming from off the road, down below. Something drew me to that evil door. I felt like a bug to a lantern. I've never been so scared in my life. I don't think I want to come back to Falkreath now. Its beauty is masked by something terrible. It got even worse. We found dead people on the road, and a werewolf. If it wasn't for those Stormcloaks, we would have joined them. I'm not a Nord, but I hope they take back their lands. The Empire abandoned Hammerfell. Skyrim doesn't need the Empire. We managed without them just fine. We were off to Markarth. It's an ancient dwarven city ruled by the Nords, and at times even the Reachmen. They even ruled 30 years ago, during the Great War, before the rebel king took the city back. But now it's back under the Nords' rule, and from what we hear, the roads are very dangerous. But we're told they only attack Nords. Me and Revolia should be fine then. If not, then let's hope these soldiers are patrolling the roads. The Reach was kind of warm, but also sort of barren looking. All you could see was grass or rock. Everything was surrounded by mountains and cliffs. To think home was right over these mountain ranges. The trees looked twisted, like they had to rip themselves out of the ground to grow in the Reach. The Reachmen were attacking some orc woman. Seems like they attack everyone that aren't Reachmen. We were getting closer to Markarth, and the closer we got, the more Reachmen we saw fighting Imperials. We got to Markarth as the Reachmen were battling for control of Markarth. The Empire was there defending it. These savages attack anybody, so we decided to aid in Markarth's defense. I know it was stupid to throw my life away like that. It was the right thing to do. These Reachmen are barbarians and should never be allowed to rule over a city full of good people. The Empire defended Markarth. They seem to have some of the Empire's best protecting this ancient city. If only they put that effort into protecting Hammerfell from the Dominion, they'd have no wars to fight. This place was amazing. Such a marvel. Sure, the Reach looked savage and dead, but Markarth was simply amazing. How could somebody make this place? How could you even lose this place? This has to be the most protected city in Tamriel. The trip was tiring and we needed some rest. A warm inn with warm ale. But first we needed to see if there were any jobs we could do for some gold. The inn was nice. It was warm inside. The dwarves knew how to keep themselves warm. We watched the wenches dance, and after about 10 ales each, we decided to dance too. Me and Revolia had been on the roads for a while. We had come close. Very close. It's hard to explain. I never liked women, but with her I feel safe. I can tell her anything, and no matter what, she will always have my back. We've fought side by side, seen the wonders of High Rock and Skyrim together. We just kind of molded together. Anyway, it was time to leave the Reach and go into Hoffingar. The Reach was just too dangerous. The place had some beauty about it. But overall, it's the most dangerous place to be in Skyrim. The mornings in the Reach were amazing, as the sun lit up the mountains above while the roads remained hidden from the shadows of the Reach valleys. Nothing felt better when you finally came back out into the sun and its warmth kissed your skin. The morning sun looked so beautiful. We came down the mountains to find a campsite, but nobody there, and the fire had recently burnt out. There was a journal, though. It turns out they left a few hours before we arrived. They were investigating killings of merchants they thought would be unusual. We'll set up here and go check for ourselves. This seemed to be the place the journal mentioned. We found the adventurers dead, captured by these twisted-looking blind things. We found some of their bodies, and a letter to a loved one saying they are sorry for dying. No longer would merchants be in danger. It was time to head back to camp. We needed to rest after all that walking and fighting. That letter had me thinking. Thinking about losing Revolia, how hurt I would be. I can't think of a world without her. I went for a swim, but she refused since the waters of Skyrim are freezing. But I told her I'd keep her warm. We were just outside Dragonbridge. The view of Solitude was amazing. A bridge older than most of the cities of Skyrim, the only one of its kind in all Tamriel. We'd book a room at the local inn for the night before we set off to Solitude. Before we even got set in, a Nord woman approached us, asking if we wanted to join her bounty hunter band. She told us the money was good, so we decided to join her. Solitude could wait, plus having some more gold never hurts. We set off in the morning with all of her people. The bounty hunting business is pretty dangerous. But when you go in with a small army, what could go wrong?
Excellent. You've done us a great service. Here's your reward.
We completed the job and got to Solitude. We stayed the day and had plenty of drinks. The Nord asked us to stay for one more, and being 500 gold richer, I wasn't going to say no. Our next bounty was in some dark cave set in Eastmarch. I didn't like Eastmarch. It was way too cold. I didn't go this far north of Skyrim. We got the job done, but it went bad. We lost a few of the other hunters, and everybody else was wounded. I led the team to Windhelm, and there they could rest and recover. We'd get our reward and leave them. I just wanted to get out of Eastmarch and head south. We went back to the Reach to finish one of the jobs we grabbed. Some circlet we had to get. It was in the possession of those pale-skinned, twisted, blind things. We got to Whiterun in the afternoon to hand off this circlet and get our gold, then head off to Solitude again. I liked traveling through Whiterun. There was a sense of peace here like nowhere else in Skyrim. Even after it was sieged just weeks ago.
You've done well. Thank you. Here, this is for you.
I wanted to tell Revolia how I truly felt. That I loved her. That I wanted to be hers forever. My time with her has made me feel complete. And with the money we have, we could get married in Solitude.
Are you interested in me? It's settled then. Brief as life can be in Skyrim, at least we'll have each other.
She said yes! We were off to Rorikstead to rest before a journey to Solitude to start our new lives together. We were halfway there and we didn't have much sun left. We needed to hurry before Skyrim's cold nights set upon us.
Be a happy woman. I wouldn't want to be with anyone else in the world.
We were close, but there were some pale people up ahead. It didn't feel right. Something was off.
Why are we even going to
They were vampires! They were way too fast for us. We couldn't fight them off. We didn't stand a chance. They took me down. Then they killed Revolia. They murdered my Revolia. They killed the woman I loved. They destroyed my world. Why couldn't they just finish me off now? I have nothing left. When I woke, I found myself in a cage. They were going to feed on me. I didn't care about dying. The love of my life was killed in front of me. I just didn't care anymore. I sat in the cage for days, and I started to get really sick. And then I died. Then I woke back up. My eyes, they hurt. Everything was so bright, and I hungered for blood. I could smell Revolia's blood, and it made me really so hungry. I couldn't help myself. They threw her body in my cage, and I didn't care that this was the love of my life dead in front of me. I only cared about feeding my hunger. I hated myself. They turned me into a monster. I wanted to die, not become a parasite. They said they needed me for battles to come in the near future, that my hunger for blood will have me join their cause. I will never join them. I'd rather starve and die. They took everything from me. I will never give them my service. I'd rather starve in this cage than help them do anything.
I've been hearing a lot of reports of people disappearing on the roads at night. That's usually vampires, but it's been happening more often all around Skyrim. People say there's a group of vampires hiding in a cave in the plains of Whiterun. A cave known by Broken Fang Cave. It's time to clean it out. Best time to hunt vampires is during the day. They will all be together in their den. And this looked like a vampire den. The place smelt of old soaked blood. The place was littered with the bones of their victims. Vampires are too lazy to hide the bodies somewhere. This was the place. Time to go in and burn them all out. That vampire wore a uniform, like some of the others I've killed in the last year, stealing people and turning them. They had one caged. This one felt different. Most I've had to kill because they joined the vampires to survive or went insane with bloodlust. This one just stared at me. She reminded me of myself. I was fed on in a cage, and that's where I became a vampire. She didn't seem aggressive, but sad. So I'd let her out and see what she would do. She sat crying by the body of a woman left to drip dry. She wasn't taken alone then. This other woman must have been her friend. But she didn't have a head. So it seems these vampires got a little careless with their power trying to steal people and took her head clean off. I felt sorry for her. She sat there begging her body for forgiveness in letting her die and feeding on her body. I was still conflicted if I should just end her, for mercy's sake, or that she could become a problem if left unchecked. But in my 200 years of life, I haven't come across many vampires like her. Those that hate what they are, that don't want to become monsters. Most of all the vampires I've met, I've killed. So it's very rare to see one's not lost. Those that are lost are put to ash. Those who aren't deserve a chance and a choice. To end it now, or learn to control it. I offered to bury her friend, to at least give her a proper burial. She accepted my offer and introduced herself as Zarita. She was scared. After all, it was her first time as a vampire out in the sun. It made her feel unwell and sore. She refused to walk out into the light. I can't blame her. It took me years getting used to the brightness, or the feeling of my skin cooking. She told me she loved the sun and its colors. That was gonna change. I told her I'd bury her friend while she waits inside for the night. She'll now fear and hate the sun, something she'll miss greatly. I've forgotten what the sun used to look like before I became a vampire. I envy her for those memories. After I was done, the night was here. She was able to come out and say her goodbyes to her friend. And to see the beauty of night. After this, she had a choice to make. Join her friend, or learn to control her hunger and use her dark powers for good. Here she told me that her companion was her lover, that they were off to get married. Then her life was changed forever, that she would follow me and learn from me. So one day she could return here and add a plate over her lover's tomb. She asked me how I lived as a vampire. I told her I didn't. I lived as a person with greater responsibility to others. That our lives aren't easy. That people will hate you for what you are before they even get to know who you are. That you have to resist your nature as a vampire and watch the few that loved you die of old age. She was to make me an oath to never stray from the path of decency. That if she become an animal, that she was to be put to ash. I've never trained a vampire before. Everything I learned from myself, or the few that didn't see me as an animal. So if she was good, I would give it my best to train her to become better. I'll first see how she handles a blade before she handles the sun. I have high hopes for this one. This won't be easy, but I hope she can pull through.
G'day guys, welcome back. Now this is the support character for Cecilia. It's kind of rough. I don't know. I wouldn't say I enjoy it until like the bad shit starts to happen. It's kind of hard playing an adventurer in Skyrim because I've seen it all before for like 13 plus years. Almost going on 13 years, and it's I don't know. It was a bit on the nose. Like, what do I do? I'll just travel Skyrim, do a few jobs, and I'll record that, try and make some sense out of it. Now, when it comes to Zarita, you can notice she's now pale white. You know, like, is that a bad thing? Blackface is wrong, but whiteface isn't. No, there's actually a reason behind that. I like to expand things in my game, expand test lore, and make things kind of make sense a bit. Now, Redguards, dark skin, means they're more melon, means they enjoy the sun, because they're people. Started in Yakuden and lived in Hammerfell, which is a very hot country, and so you need sort of dark skin, lots of melanin in your skin for survive such a rough climate, just like our world. I mean, Africans is as black as night because they live in the hottest continent in the world. And then you've got, you know, red-haired, pale-skinned motherfuckers like myself that come from places like Norway and, you know, just Nordic countries to where the sun wasn't that prevalent because it was either due to the weather or it was just freezing cold. So I wanted to change that to a sort of an immersive or a sort of realistic setting to where, you know, her character loved the sun, loved the colours of the sun and the colours of the day and the warmth of the sun touching her skin. And now that she's even just lost the love of her life and she's been turned into a monster, she's now been turned into something to where she will learn to hate. You know, hate the colours of the sun. It will hurt her eyes, and hate the feeling of the sun touching her skin because it'll feel like she's cooking, like she's, you know, like her skin's burning. Like imagine having a 3rd degree burn. If you're white, you definitely know what the hell that is, especially if you're a pale ass bitch like me. And that stuff hurts. I mean, you go out inside this, like, into the direct sunlight with a bad sunburn, it physically hurts you. And that's what kind of being a vampire does to you. You become pale white, sort of like a deathly looking white. And that's kind of the way I wanted to go with this character. Is I wanted her to go from this character that's skin was made for the sun, and then when she transforms into a vampire, she becomes, you know, her vampire skin obviously is not made for the sun. She won't engulf in fire unless she's like starving, but it's gonna really not feel nice in her skin if she's out in direct sunlight. And that's kind of the way I wanted to transform it. So every vampire, from a orc, from a Redguard, from a dark elf, will go this pale sort of bluish white, because their skin transforms into a skin that isn't made for direct sunlight. And that kind of gives more sense to the whole vampires burn in the sunlight sort of thing. And they pretty much, their skin becomes pretty much albino, you know. They lose all their melanin, but their eyes and hearts become sort of like nocturnal, and their speed and all that sort of stuff. So I kind of like to add an immersive sort of realistic sort of setting to their skin from when they physically change. Their skin loses its colour and returns and becomes a different colour because of its lack of melanin. But anyway, it was a bit hard to watch, yeah, or hard to create because I had to like just do it randomly. It wasn't all planned, and then the whole last bit where it gets a bit sad and a bit like, holy crap, that was actually fun to make. Pain in the arse, so the NPCs, when I was using them to fight, they were, like Zarita and even Cecilia, were causing me a headache because they wouldn't engage the combat all the time. It was made me angry. But we've finally got a character for Cecilia. She's now got a supporting character, and Zarita could one day replace Cecilia. If she lives through the Dragon Wars, she lives through her training, or she will live through her training, but if she lives through the Dragon Wars, she will no doubt don the armor that Cecilia wears and the blade that she wears and take her place, and Cecilia might bugger off to a new country, and we might meet her again in the next Elder Scrolls game. When eventually, you know, it's heavily modded and could be like 10 years from now. But yeah, so the whole idea is for her to become a supporting character for Cecilia, and then when Cecilia joins, you know, the Dragonborn, Zarita will follow, and hopefully Zarita will survive. She'll be upped in ante and a bit more powerful because of her training with Cecilia, but yeah, hopefully she pulls through and she's able to one day, you know, 50 years from now, wear that black armor and wield that sword and take the rank or take the position of Dark Knight of Skyrim. Yeah, so that's kind of the whole idea of Zarita. Her entire character was started off as nothing to become someone else's. And there's another one for Freya that will one day be in the works, but I need to kind of go forward in time a bit more. Maybe a season change, and we'll meet the characters in maybe 3 or 4 months. So I want to kind of skip through time and show what's kind of been going on with their lives, maybe like 3 or 4 months after the Battle of Whiterun. Anyway, I hope you guys have enjoyed this, or hope some of you did anyway. It was a bit rough to make, but other than that, I'm gonna get out of your hair. I hope you've enjoyed. If you liked it, like it. If you disliked it, dislike it. If you want to see some more, subscribe, hit that little bell button. There's plenty more to come. Anyway, I'm out of here. Hope you guys have had a good one. Peace.